everyone, and welcome to the Neuroscience of Mental Health. Today's lesson is about the 4 R's. We're going to learn about the systems that are so important to develop during adolescence: resilience, regulation, relationships, and reward. Last time we talked about the brain development, and we talked about the adolescent period. Adolescence is a period of great opportunity and also great risk. It's a time when you guys are driven to be risky, to practice risky behavior. The part of your brain that is the braking system, think about a car. If you think about the brakes and the gas, your gas pedal, the limbic system that says go, 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 is on overdrive. But the brake pedal, the prefrontal cortex, is still under construction. So it is a great time of creativity, of really open thinking, of really cool stuff, but it is also a time of great risk. Therefore, being in quarantine right now is particularly hard on you guys. And you may be really angry, and that's okay. If we look at this picture of the brain, that blue part, that's the limbic system. That's the emotional part of the brain. And that's what I was talking about in terms of the gas pedal. The limbic system is really where your brains are driven right now. So you're angry, you're sad, and you know what? You have a right to be. In a lot of ways, this is a time period where you're driven to go off and be independent, and being quarantined in your house is kind of the opposite of what your brain expects and what your brain is really driven towards. So that brings out that limbic system, that anger, that sadness, that loss. And so it really is particularly hard on you guys. So it's okay to be sad and angry. How you deal with that, you got to think about, but it is particularly hard on you. This is a time that you want to have freedom. You want to be out there doing stuff. We've thought about all this for so long, and now that's being taken away, all of that freedom. And so it's tough. So we need to find ways that we can foster mental health, that you can get that stuff while you're in quarantine. So we talked about 4 S's that are so critical for the adolescent brain. The first one is resilience. Resilience is our response to any challenge, good, bad, big, or small. How do you problem solve? How do you handle challenges? Right now, we're all going through this huge challenge, but you're going to go through challenges every day. And you need to begin to understand how to problem solve. Remember, we talked about those brain pathways that are developing? These are the brain pathways that you need to develop right now. Thoughts about yourself. Who are you? What do you stand for? What are your strengths and weaknesses? What are your values? Support systems. Who are the people that you go to help you solve those problems? You need to understand that you have friends and family and neighbors and people who can support you, and you need to be able to reach out to them, even if it's through Zoom right now. Situation. How do you put problems in perspective and break them down into their doable parts? We're going to learn about this a lot more later too. We're going to come back to this. And strategies. Do you know how to solve problems? Do you have one way to do it and then give up? Or do you have multiple ways? And it's important that you are developing brain pathways on how to problem solve. So while you're in quarantine, you can still find ways to problem solve. There are problems to be solved even in your house. Reward system. This sets the stage for the rewards that you're going to find for the rest of your life. So think about, how are you getting those messages, that dopamine that says, wow, that felt good. You need to make sure that you are finding ways that are healthy, because we can get dopamine in good ways and in bad ways. And so we need to think about, where are you getting your dopamine? That limbic system really wants those rewards. It's okay to do some Netflix, to do some of that immediate reward, but you also need to think about, can I get that longer term? Can I, work hard towards a goal to get that? Yeah, that felt really good. Relationships. Relationships are particularly critical to the limbic system, are particularly critical during adolescent period. So making sure that you're getting oxytocin and that you're setting up the stage for healthy relationships. How are your friends treating you? Do you have a boyfriend or girlfriend? How are they treating you? What about your family? Are you setting the stage for healthy relationships with those in your family? Right now, I know sometimes you're angry at your parents because it feels like this is so unfair. And I can tell you, our brains don't like to feel like things are unfair. So making sure that you're not pushing them away too much. You're going to have a push and pull with them, most likely. But how can you make sure that you maintain healthy relationships with your family, with your friends, with your neighbors, with your community that are going to set the stage for the relationships that you'll have for the rest of your life? Regulation. This one's a tough one. Regulation is the idea of being able to set our priorities, to be able to, sometimes your parents might be setting your priorities right now and saying, okay, make sure you do your homework. Okay, make sure you get those chores done that you're supposed to do. But at this point in adolescence, it's important for you to begin to really fire those neurons in the prefrontal cortex. And part of that is being able to say, you know what, right now I feel like watching Netflix, but I've got a test tomorrow, or I've got to go downstairs and take the garbage out. I've got to make sure that I take care of the things that I need to before I take care of the things that I really want to do right now. So the balance of those priorities and setting the stage so that you are beginning to be the executive director of your brain, that you are taking control of the responsibilities that you have. Gradually, you want to have that control so that when you move out of your house, when we're out of quarantine, you have the ability to do that. So make sure that you are setting your own priorities. These are the 4 R's that we talked about: relationships, rewards, regulation, and resilience. The, the fifth little tag there, roots and wings, are ways that your parents can support you as you are in adolescence. The adolescent brain development period is a wonderful period. Remember, the goal is pruning and paving. So we want to take this time to make sure that we are developing brain pathways in those areas that you want to. And for parents, we want to give them the message that they need to provide you with the structure and support that you need, but also give you opportunities to be independent, give you wings, and recognize that it's time for you to take more responsibility and have more freedom. And one of the things, my favorite lines as a parent, is with privileges come responsibilities, with responsibilities come privileges. So working with your parents to say, you know what, I want to have more privileges, I want to have more freedom, so I'm ready to take on more responsibilities. So hopefully getting those 4 R's in place, hopefully your parents can help you with that by giving you the roots and wings to develop those. We're going to try and do a quick reflection at the end of each lesson. And for today, the review is, think about how you're developing those 4 R's. How can you make sure that while you're in quarantine, you're able to practice and fire those neurons?